Go ahead and call this meeting to order. We got Ms. Kelly Mitchell with Blue Hill Regional Planning Commission. She's here. We're going to do a needs assessment, and she's going to walk us through going through the process of trying to get some grants. So, Ms. Mitchell, the floor is yours.
Okay, I am basically, I'll probably have to do this sitting down so that I can fill it all out, but basically I'm here to answer any questions. The needs assessment, I will ask kind of everybody's given the opportunity to participate and to voice their concerns regarding certain things. There are specific questions that they want you all to rate overall. So the options are, how are your streets? And it's between good, fair, and poor. Those are your options on all of the questions. Good, fair, poor, or does not exist. So if it asks about a community facility or a hospital, just say does not exist if it doesn't. This is a basic form that they use throughout the entire state of Missouri. So some of it's applicable here, some of it will not be. That's kind of, I will walk you through. There's only about 3 sections worth of questions. Shouldn't take very long. I do have to have, I know everybody will probably have a different opinion on certain areas. I do have to have one general consensus on each question that's asked. But before I start that, the City of Morehouse is wanting to apply for a street and drainage
That is correct.
project. So and that is through CDBG. There is a $500,000 max. So if the city will be eligible to apply for the full $500,000. The way that this works, tonight's kind of the kickoff of that. We make the public aware of what's going on, the city's intentions, and then after we do the needs assessment, we will go out and we will select an engineer. That process gets published, and we direct solicit minority firms and women-owned firms. We direct solicit those. The rest of them we reach out to local engineers and ask for qualifications. Qualifications get submitted, and then the board ultimately decides which engineer. There's a rating form that's given out, and they rank. Some of them are as basic as basically whose qualifications did you like to look at the best? Which one had more pictures? Which one had resumes? Which one was easier to read? Some of the rating criteria is very simple. Some of it is more, who have you used in the past? Did you like them? Did you not like them? And that gives you an opportunity to select based upon past history with engineers. So ultimately, the city council or the board will decide which engineer gets selected for the project. Once we get an engineer selected, they provide us and the city as well what they call a PER. It's a preliminary engineering report. And they will go around the city. The engineers will come and kind of see which streets are in worse need, what drainage issues need to be addressed, and then how, with that $500,000 budget, what's the best approach to use all of that money, and which streets they'll kind of go through and prioritize which streets need. But we'll try to get every penny that we can out of that $500,000. There is no fee for us writing the grant. The city do pay members, so we don't charge to write the grant. There is no fee for you all for us administering the grant. That is built into the grant. The state actually pays us to administer that. So there is no added expense to the city. You are eligible for one CDBG grant at a time. And typically from start to finish, the whole process takes about 2 years. And that's the writing of the grant takes about 90 days from basically when we posted about the public hearing. So we're already a good ways in on that timeline. But we have about 90 days to write the application. Then the state, it's a competitive grant. So you're competing against all the other cities in the state who want to apply for these funds. The only benefit from being in Southeast Missouri is these funds are only made available to low to moderate income communities. So we're not going against St. Louis or something like that. This is kind of more competitive for our region. So our chances of getting it are very, very good. Once that is Once it's submitted, they have about 6 to 9 months to review them. Once they review, they notify the mayor if the city got the awarded amount, or if they want to do a different amount, or if they just don't want to fund it all together. Those are the options that the state has. From there, depending on how quickly they let us know, typically we don't find out until mid-winter that the funds are awarded. Well, obviously you're not doing street projects in the winter, so it will probably more than likely be next spring before we actually begin construction, once it's awarded. And then it typically goes through the summer and then into the fall, depending on how many streets they select. But it should be closed out, truthfully, probably by the end of next year. So they give you a 2 year, the state requires that from start to finish it be completed in 2 years. So it's not a project that's going to drag out over a long period of time. The majority of it is kind of before construction begins. But construction usually, depending on the size of the project, should take a few months. And since there is drainage, there might be some holdup due to weather. If we get, it's early spring, a lot of times there's rain, that can hold up the process. But altogether, should be completely closed out in less than 2 years' time. So. Does anybody have any questions regarding the process of applying for a CDBG grant? Or how any of that works? No questions? Okay. Then I will ask a few questions here, and I will leave this up to you however you all want to do it. If just the board wants to shout out an answer, or you all can decide, talk about it. Some of them will be easy, some of them might be a little more conversation that needs to take place, but I'll just start. So, on a scale from good to poor, what do you rate your water source?
Good.
Good. And water treatment and
Good.
water distribution?
Treatment and distribution is good.
Okay. What about sanitary sewer treatment and collection?
We currently don't have, we use a 2-cell lagoon to our treatment. We don't have UV or water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant.
Okay. But the system that you have in place is working good?
Fair.
Fair, okay. And what about
Y'all feel free.
storm sewer collection?
Good.
We have sections of town where heavy rains, we have yards that get water standing there with everything. For the most part, it's pretty fair.
Okay, so drainage overall, you would say is fair. Okay. Bridges.
We have one bridge in town, it's City Street Bridge, and the county it's in the process of being redone completely through the Madison County.
Okay, so currently, how would you rate it? Good, fair?
I'd say it's 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sidewalks?
4.
Parks? Parks and recreation facilities.
Fair, our pavilions are in they need a lot of work. Okay, the consensus is 4.
I was hearing that back there. Landfill?
Not applicable to us.
Electrical distribution.
That's handled through Ameren, it's good.
And natural gas distribution.
That's Liberty Utilities, it's good.
Okay. Next will be the public services, so this could be like the fire, police, that type of thing. So fire protection.
Good.
Good. Police.
Good.
Code enforcement,
fair,
energy conservation. That exists. In
not
our
fair.
area typically it does not exist. So. Healthcare facilities.
We don't have healthcare facilities within the city limits.
Recreational activities. Snow removal.
4,
Street cleaning.
4,
Park maintenance.
fair,
Emergency medical services.
good,
Trash removal.
good,
Street lighting.
good,
Sidewalks.
4,
And parking.
ma'am,
Parking.
fair,
These are community facilities, so is there a community center?
this is the community building, yes ma'am.
And how would you rate that, good, fair, or poor? On the night when there's no air? Bad timing. Senior Citizen Center.
We don't, do we have a
Historic preservation. Sheltered workshop.
we don't have one, don't have.
Hospital.
Don't have.
Infant daycare center. Mental health counseling services.
We don't.
Is there senior transportation?
There's companies that come in and provide shuttle services to take people to doctor's appointments. But yeah, we don't have, no,
Okay.
We don't have one.
What about a teen or youth center?
we don't have.
Okay. A drug abuse prevention or rehabilitation center? Need one. Need one, but don't have one.
Oh, he won.
Crime prevention programs?
Yeah, you're talking about maybe we want to put one together.
A community theater? A library?
We do have a library.
How would you rate it, good, fair, or poor?
How would the public rate the library?
I didn't even know we had one. Fair. Because I've been up there 80 years.
Let's speak up a little bit.
She's asking that we speak up.
Okay. So the library, how would you rate the library?
Fair.
Fair?
Is that the whole season?
Okay, we're almost finished. This is the health environment, and most of these will probably be non-existent. Primary care physicians, healthcare specialists, a walk-in clinic. Are there ever mobile clinics in the area? Is there a dentist?
No, ma'am.
Home care services?
There's some home care services like that.
Yeah, that's different
Okay,
companies outside of Morehouse. We don't have one particularly.
okay. And there's no licensed child care facility?
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Is there any, within the city, patient transportation services to any facility? Is there EMS or 911?
Yes,
Okay, and how would you rate that?
good.
The next is the education profile. It asks to rate preschool, if there's a preschool program. No preschool, okay. How would you rate the public school? Okay. Are there any private schools? Vocational schools? Community colleges? University? Continuing education? Is there any employer-based skills training?
Not that I know of.
Let's see here. Are there any shared school facilities such as recreational places or libraries?
Just the Morehouse Library.
Okay. Okay, I think the final thing that I have is it wants to know the community's top 5 priorities. What you think the community needs out of everything. I need the top 5 that you feel the community needs.
Roads.
Roads,
Okay?
all five.
Roads, yes, I agree with you, all 5 roads.
All 5 of them. Okay.
That's flood on all of them.
Okay, so we can do streets and someone said drainage, so we can do drainage. So I need 3 more. It can
Sidewalks.
be sidewalks, okay.
Definitely.
How about upgrade our park?
Parks, okay. And 1 more,
Community center.
okay. And we can, just on a side note, once the street project gets closed out, there are grant funds through the same program that can help either do modifications to the existing one or help construct a new community facility. This grant will have to be closed out, but once that's closed out, you are eligible to apply for those funds as well, so.
And I guess an add-on, but that would probably fall under FEMA, would be tornado sirens or
Yes.
inclement weather
Yes,
sirens.
that's a different pot of money, and the city would be eligible for that as well.
Or even
Understood.
storm shelter?
A storm shelter?
It's on our, yeah.
He's mentioned it before, and we've talked about the FEMA grants. There are FEMA grants that are available. They open up typically in October, so we still have a few months before those open up. But as soon as they start to let us know, we will pass that information along. That is all.
Well, I do have a question, Ms. Kelly.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, it would be USDA, the 405,000 for federal disaster, you know, due to the flood and everything. Is that going to be something that, since that is still in the works, would be added to this 500,000 that we're trying
For
to
the street
secure?
drainage?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So my understanding, now USDA is separate from CDBG.
Correct.
So Whitney Watts, who I think you've been in contact with, some from the local office, or whoever you've been in contact with regarding USDA.
That was the previous mayor, and he's the one who submitted that letter.
Okay. So my advice is to reach out to, and I can forward you her contact information. Whitney Watts is out of the Dexter locations, and she can answer any of your questions regarding USDA funds. They actually do all of that in-house. It's a very streamlined process. They don't require quite as many hoops as CDBG. So they handle all of that in-house, and then Whitney directly administers those funds. They do work hand in hand with CDBG, so especially when there's large projects that involve drainage, typically you will see communities apply for both pots of money because they work together. So you can almost double, like 405,000.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
basically the city would be getting a total of $905,000 to fix up their street and drainage. So they do like to partner because they can kind of get more bang for their buck too. They don't just want to come in and do part of the city, they want to address the majority of the city's issues. So if they partner with other agencies, then they can stand a better shot at getting all of the needs addressed.
That way you can drive around town without losing your car.
Exactly. Absolutely. Does anybody have any other questions for me?
Bob? Dan? Does any member of the public have any questions of Ms. Mitchell while she's here? No?
So the next thing, the next step in the process is we will start advertising for engineers. And then when is your next city council meeting?
Will be the second Monday in July. So the date is the 12th? Yeah,
July 12th?
July 12th. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we will probably start soliciting for engineers this week. We like to give them about 2 to 3 weeks to get their stuff submitted to the city. That will come directly to City Hall. They will mail those directly, or they will drop them off. Some of them, if they're in the area, especially if they're local engineers, they'll just stop by and bring those to you. Otherwise, they will be mailed. And then we will put in the public notice that gets sent out that the engineer will be selected on the July 12th meeting. And so a lot of the local engineers will come and be in attendance for that meeting to find out who gets awarded the project. From that point, we work directly with the engineer alongside the city to determine which streets need to get prioritized. And then once they get that report together, the report consists of a lot of drainage stuff regarding the width of the pipes, how deep they go down. And then it will also address like street overlays, if it's going to be a 2-inch overlay, a 3-inch overlay, how many miles of asphalt that is, and it kind of goes into a lot of detail about that. We use that information to write your application. We basically use what the engineer, because they know all the ins and outs of it. They know what you all need, and so we just follow their lead on that. Other than that, pictures. You need lots of pictures. The application that we submit will be about this thick. It consists of a bunch of stuff like this, just questions that they ask, about this thick. So there's nobody in Jeff City that's going to read that entire application. So there is a summary section, and they pretty much, it's about 4 pages. They read it, and they look at all the pictures that we send. So pictures basically can make or break the project. So if you have an area of town, we went to another public hearing this morning, and the community has drainage issues, and they said the next big rain that comes through, they're going to go out that next day and take pictures. And that's perfectly fine. If there's areas that flood or prone to flooding, take it when it's at its worst, because it is a competitive grant. So you are competing against other communities. So the worse the picture, the better it is for the application. So, and the engineer can help take photos, but if you all happen to be out and water's in your yard, or take pictures of that, that's perfectly fine. And he has my email address. The mayor can email me those pictures, and we're happy to put those in the application.
It probably won't rain no more.
Well, I think the streets alone would warrant, the pictures just that we've seen would warrant the application, so.
The streets are in
Yeah,
bad,
they are.
the whole town.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am? Any member of the board have any questions, Ms. Mitchell?
All right, well, thank you for your time. and-
We appreciate you coming,
No problem. Any
going over this. Much
questions,
appreciated.
just feel free to give me a call. He has my contact information at the office, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So, all right, thank you.
Appreciate you coming. I'd like to call the public hearing session closed. Well, entertain a motion.
Motion that we close the public hearing.
Got a motion? Motion and a second. All in favor? All right.